Hey there, welcome to day 9 of our Get Up and Go Challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Yesterday we talked about your change reaction. How do you automatically respond to change? And I made a whole list of how I respond to change. And what I did is I copied that list over from yesterday of how I respond to change, of the things that I do, and I copied it into, okay, here's some of my initial reactions. And what we're going to do today is we're going to add a tool called flip switching, because what we're going to do is change your reaction. We're going to look for different ways to deal with situations that come up, with changes and challenges that show up in our life, and ask ourselves a primary question: what else is possible? All right, these are all the ways I automatically respond to a change or a challenge or an obstacle or something that happens in my life that's unexpected or a surprise. What else is possible? If I flip switch, what is another way I could have or could deal with this particular challenge or situation? So let's look at a couple of those. And then our assignment today is going to be to go back, look at your action item from yesterday, your original way of dealing with challenges and changes, and then do this flip switch exercise on it. It's just like flipping a light switch. I actually learned about this from Lynn Grabhorn is her name, and she has a book, a couple of books under the Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting series. And then this is the playbook, not the workbook, but the playbook that goes along with that book. And I actually like this book. I did it after my sudden cardiac arrest. It took me over a year to actually go through and do all the exercises in this book, because she recommends that you don't move on to the next exercise till you do the one that you're on. For me, that meant there was an exercise I got to in probably about where I am right now in the book, because I started this last year during the pandemic, and I'm on page 126 of, I don't know, it's a couple hundred page book, 259, so I'm not even halfway through the book again, so it's going to take me a year to go through it again. It is one of those playbooks or workbooks that if you're brave and you really want to get to know yourself, and that's one of my centering themes this year, is to get to know myself better and understand what's working for me, what's not, what makes me tick, what I'm really driven and motivated by. And you know, I know those things on a subconscious level, but I want to bring some of them up to my conscious. So I'm doing this book again. But she talks in this book about this tool or this practice of flip switching. We can get rid of the dark by simply turning off the light switch, right? We can do the same thing with our life in how we respond and react to things. So, for example, if I find that I resist change, I'm resisting the challenge, all I have to do is accept what is. Or what I could possibly do is just accept what is. Hey, COVID-19 happened. There is nothing I can do to change that. So I can fight against it, or I can just resist it, or I can resist the changes that are coming along with that, or I can say, okay, that just happened, now what? And for me, it's a lot more empowering to say, that just happened, now what? Or accept what is. Okay, that happened, but now it's all up to me. What am I going to do about that? What's another way that I respond to change and challenges? I deny that they happened. Well, we can deny that COVID-19 happened and impacted all of us all we want, but it's not going to change the fact that COVID-19 happened and impacted all of us. So I say I open my eyes. My flip switch is to open my eyes and open my mind and say, okay, I can pretend it didn't happen, but it really did. So who am I hurting by pretending it didn't happen and that it isn't going to impact me in some way? I'm only hurting myself. Do we want to hurt ourselves? No, not consciously. So let's bring it up to our conscious. Let's be present, accept what is, and not deny it. I guess that wasn't the one I did. So what is another possible response for ignoring? I ignore challenges. I ignore change sometimes. I've done that, tried that in corporate America sometimes. You know, a change or something would come down the pipe that we didn't necessarily like or agree with as a group of middle managers, and we would kind of ignore it. We'd pretend it didn't exist for a while until it got to the point where we were required to implement it throughout the organization. Things like different policies and procedures that would come down the way. Maybe you're like, okay, well, that's silly. Every time somebody's sick, they have to bring in a doctor's slip. Silly. People get sick. People get colds all the time. We're going to make them go to the doctor, pay to go to the doctor, and bring in a doctor's slip. Unnecessary and kind of ridiculous. But we ended up rolling out some form of that, but a modified form of that, because common sense and middle management took over human resources' desire to be controlling. So what's another thing? So I'm going to do my whole list like this, and I'm just going to run through what I've done last time just to give you an idea of what this can look like and should look like for you. So I'm grabbing my old notebook where I flip switch. So resist was accept what is, and it's what else could be possible. It's not I'm going to do this for sure, but what could I possibly do if I was willing to stretch and try something else besides resisting, denying, ignoring, complaining, being a victim, getting upset, angry, or negative, looking for a way out, procrastinating, whine, bitch, or moaning, doing nothing, freezing, no action. That's a list literally of all the things that I have done in the past, and every once in a while I might still continue to do when I'm faced with a change or a challenge, especially a change or a challenge that I'm freaked out or stressed out about, or I'm not sure initially how to handle. Now, it's okay to do those things for a short period of time. Like when we first thought the pandemic was going to be 2 weeks and everything was going to be shut down for 2 weeks, okay, freak out, just do all these things for 2 weeks. But then when we realized it was going to be another month and a half, and then 3 months, and then 6 months, and now here we are a year later, still dealing with the ramifications. And I don't know when it clicked in my brain, but sometime in the past year, it clicked that this change and the changes associated with COVID-19, some of them are with us forever. Some of them will forever be with us because it's created a whole new regime in terms of, I don't want to get into the politics or anything of it, but it's created changes that some people really like and want to move forward with, and other people hate, but there's not going to be a whole lot we can do about it. And so how are we going to make our life work the way we want it to in spite of whatever's going on around us? So what do I do, and what are some things that are possible? For example, again, I said resist, accept what is. Deny, be present, be in the present moment and say, okay, yeah, I want to say that this didn't happen, but it did, so what do I need to do right now? What is my present moment? Take a deep breath and just say, okay, yep, that happened, now what? I can ignore it. Well, I need to open my eyes and open my mind, right? Because ignoring it isn't going to help me or anyone else. I can complain. What's something I could do to flip the switch on complaining? What's the opposite of complaining? Looking for the gift in it, right? Or taking the emotion out of the situation and saying, all right, I need to get level-headed, take my emotions out of this. Yeah, I'm freaking out because this is horrible. I can't go and do what I want when I want. My freedoms are being curtailed. But how could I look at this? Well, geez, I get time at home to do all the projects that I've been wanting to do for 10 years, or I got this stack of books a mile high that I've been wanting to look at or read, or I've always wanted to watch Game of Thrones or whatever. I still have to yet to watch Game of Thrones, but you get what I'm saying. Being the victim. This one, we all as human beings tend to, at some time or other throughout our lives, feel victimized or feel put upon or ask why me or poor me. But it's such a sad spot to be in, because whenever we do that, we are totally giving away all of our power to someone or something outside of us. And I say, instead of that, instead of feeling like a victim, even when we are a victim, because guess what? Sometimes people do bad things to us and we are victimized, but there's always a lesson we can learn from that. And so I always look for the lesson, the blessing, and the gift in any situation where I feel like I've been wronged. I mean, I've had bad business partners. I had a bad spouse, who did bad things and cheated on me and stuff, and I could blame myself and feel like a victim. And yeah, was I a victim in that situation? Sure. But do I want to feel like a victim, or do I want to say, forget that, I'm taking back my personal power, and this is what I'm going to do in response to that, because I am not a victim. I'm not giving you my power or my emotions or control over me and my emotions ever again. You can get upset. What's the opposite of getting upset? To me, it's getting excited, getting curious. All right, this happened. Now, what can I get excited about that? Because whenever there is a change or a challenge, there's an opportunity. Either you or someone else is going to take advantage of and use that opportunity in your favor. Why not me? Why not you? So let's do that. When I get angry, I get or negative, I ask myself questions. I always, when I want to change my mood or my situation quickly, I ask myself questions. Guess what? We're always asking ourselves questions in our head anyway, so why not choose the questions we want to ask ourselves, right? why me or poor me are questions, but they're not good questions. And guess what? Our subconscious will give us an answer and make us feel worse. So we don't want to necessarily do that. Look for a way out. I flip that to looking for solutions. Procrastinate. I focus on solutions, and I will analyze and decide and compliment when I'm whining, bitching, moaning, or complaining. If I'm doing nothing, I get moving. Even if it's step outside the front door and let the sun shine on my face. If it's go walk to the mailbox or walk around the block or walk downtown or do something, I move. Or maybe I'll sit down and I'll do some sit-ups, or I'll do something, but I'll actually move. I'll go get a cup of coffee. But if I find that I'm doing nothing and I don't know what to do, the opposite of that, the flip switch for that, for me, is to move. It's just to physically move and do something. Freeze. If I freeze or if I have no action, I get up and go, right? That's why this whole challenge was created, because the first couple of weeks was like, all right, I'm going through all of these feelings, all of these emotions. I'm wanting to do all these things. I'm wanting to just curl up in a little ball and just wait for it to be over, right? Isn't that sometimes our natural response? Fetal position, wait for it to be over. Well, at some point you realize it's not going to be over, and you're going to have to figure out how to respond to it. That's what I had to do. That's what we all have to do. Thus, the get up and go challenge. So I get up and go. If I'm freezing and I don't want to take any action, I get up and go. And if I'm really stuck in a spot and I feel like I don't know what to do, I flip that to, well, what is possible? What could I possibly do? And what is one teeny tiny, itsy bitsy baby step that I could take right now? And then I do that thing. As soon as I think of the thing I could do, I go do it. Maybe it's go to the refrigerator and get a snack. I don't care what it is, but something to get me actually physically moving. And guess what? Food changes our physiology. If we change our physiology, we feel better about things. If we feel better about things, we can look at what's going on with a more level head and a conscious approach to determining what is right for us. Now, tomorrow we are going to get into the SOAP framework, and I'm going to share with you the change reaction, the reaction to change that I've installed in my subconscious and has changed my life and thousands of people's lives in terms of automatically having a way to deal with any challenge or change or situation that will take care of all of these old ways of doing and dealing with things and automatically replace them with the list of the flip switch, the opposite, what we can do to focus on the solution instead of the problem. Those things become automatic for us using the SOAP framework. We do the SOAP framework from now till the end of the challenge. We're going to go through the SOAP framework with all of the different areas and aspects of our life and make sure that you can make that and take it and make it your own, so that you can install it in your subconscious and guarantee that you'll get better results from this point on, after the challenge on, whenever you're faced with a change or challenge, than before you did the challenge. All right, that's it. Today, your action item, do this for your list of things that you normally do whenever you're faced with a change or challenge. And just flip the switch. And your things will be different. What you will choose to do or what you could possibly do will be different than my list. But I wanted to share mine just so you get an example of some of the possible things that you could do to flip the switch on your current change reaction so that you can change your reaction. And when we take control of and change our reaction, everything in our life changes, and it changes for the better. All right, any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow, and we're going to discuss, and I'm going to give you an overview of the SOAP framework. It'll be 10 days in, and we're just now getting to the SOAP framework. Why? Because we needed to lay the foundation. We have to have a solid foundation whenever we're basing any new thing, and it's not new, that people have been using change methodologies for centuries, right? People have been surviving change and challenges forever. But we wanted to lay the foundation for that. All right, I'll be with you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye. Go do this. You only take a couple minutes and see how empowered it makes you feel.